So I used to think successful people were the ones who worked 18-hour days, made 300 calls, and never took no for an answer. But I was completely wrong, and that mistake almost destroyed my career. So today I'm sharing the conversation that completely shifted how I approach sales leadership, why the hustle mentality is actually sabotaging your results, and the three-step framework that transformed not just my performance, but my entire relationship with success. So if you're here, you're probably like I was, grinding harder than everyone else, but wondering why the results felt just so temporary. Maybe you're a sales leader watching your team burn out, or you're in sales yourself and feeling that constant pressure to do more, be more, hustle more is just so present in front of you. Here's what I've learned after years of coaching sales professionals. The hustle culture isn't just ineffective, it's actually counterproductive. It's working against you. And I'm about to show you why. But first, if content like this resonates with you, hit that subscribe button because we dive deep into sales leadership mindset every single week. So picture this. You walk into your office and what do you see? Whiteboards covered in call numbers, activity metrics everywhere, KPIs, motivational posters about grinding harder, never give up, success before failure. And the message is really clear. Success equals effort, effort equals hours logged, calls made, and rejection endured. And I bought into this completely. So for years, I measured my worth by how busy I looked, how late I stayed, and how many prospects I could cram into a day. I wore exhaustion like a badge of honor. Sound familiar? Well, problem is with this approach, it's not just it's unsustainable, even though it absolutely is. The real problem is that it fundamentally misunderstands what drives results in sales. So when you're operating from this hustle mentality, you're essentially saying that success is about overwhelming the market with sheer volume. You're treating sales like numbers, where the only variable you can control is how much more you can do than the next person. The moment everything shifted happened during what I thought would be a routine conversation. So imagine sitting across from someone who had achieved everything you thought you wanted: consistent, high performance, respect from colleagues, a sustainable income that didn't require sacrificing health or relationships. But here's what caught me completely off guard: they actually worked less hours than I did. So when I asked about what their secret was, expecting some revolutionary prospecting technique or closing strategy, their answer stopped me dead in my tracks. They said that they stopped confusing motion with progress. And they went on to explain something that should have been obvious but had completely escaped me. So they said that every hour you spend on low volume and low value activities isn't just unproductive, it's preventing you from focusing on what actually drives results. So this hit me right out of nowhere because I realized that I'd been treating sales like a factory job where more time automatically equals more output. But sales isn't manufacturing, it's about relationships, timing, understanding, strategic thinking, communication, behavior. None of these things improve just because you work longer hours. In fact, exhaustion makes you worse at all of them. When you're tired and you just can't go on anymore because you need to rest, you need time for yourself, then you're just not listening. Your communication is just at its ultimate worst. So now this conversation actually led me to completely rebuild my approach around three core principles. And I'm going to share these core principles with you because they work regardless of what your industry is or what your experience level is. So the first thing is strategic focus over frantic activity. Instead of asking, how can I do more? Start asking, what should I stop doing? The highest performers I coach spend 20% of their time on activities that drive 80% of their results, the 80-20 rule. So they're ruthless about protecting their energy for high impact work. Second, sustainable systems over heroic efforts. You don't need to be the hero. So heroic efforts are just what you do when you don't have any systems. So when you're constantly putting in extraordinary effort just to maintain ordinary results, that's a system problem, not a motivational problem. So the goal isn't to work harder forever, it's to build processes that make success predictable and sustainable. The third is authentic connection over aggressive persuasion. So here's something that the hustle culture gets completely backwards. People don't buy from salespeople that need the sale the most. People buy from people that they can trust. When you're operating from desperation or artificial urgency, prospects can sense it. They can feel it from a mile away. So, authentic leadership actually means genuinely being focused on solving their problems, not just hitting your numbers. So, these aren't just philosophical shifts, they're practical frameworks that change how you structure your days, prioritize your activities, and measure your success. So, how do you actually implement this? Let me give you some things you can start working on today. So, first, conduct an honest audit of your time. For 1 week, track what you're actually doing in 15-minute blocks. I guarantee you'll be shocked at what you discover. Everything that you do fills the time that you allot. So, everything you should do, you should track, whether it's email, whether it's social media, whether it's working on presentations. You know, the things that you're going to find are things that you feel urgent but don't actually drive results. These things expand to fill the time that you give them. So if you allot 15 minutes to emailing, it'll take 15 minutes. But if you don't give a time to it, it'll just keep going on and on and on and on and on. Second, identify your highest value activities and protect them fiercely. So for most salespeople, this means strategic prospecting, meaningful client conversations, and relationship building. So schedule these first, then fit everything else around them. Third, start measuring outcomes, not just activities. So instead of tracking how many calls you've made, track how many meaningful conversations you had. Instead of counting emails sent, why don't you measure relationships that you deepened? This shift in metrics will actually naturally guide you toward more strategic behavior. The beautiful thing about this approach is that it doesn't require you to work more hours. It actually requires you to be more strategic. Again, work smarter, not harder. So here's what I want you to remember. Sustainable success isn't about outworking everyone else. It's about outthinking them. It's about building a career that energizes you instead of depleting you. The conversation that changed my perspective didn't just make me more successful, it made me more fulfilled too. And that combination, strategic thinking plus authentic leadership, that's where real transformation happens. So if this resonated with you, I want to hear about it in the comments. What's one hustle mentality that you're ready to let go of? And if you found value here, subscribe because we're building a community of sales leaders who think differently.